Marshall Gevers with Active Rehab Chiropractic, and whenever people come to see me, my job is to leave them functioning better than before. What that often means is somebody comes to me in pain, and the reason for that is there's pressure on a tendon or on a nerve because a muscle isn't activating right, or they're not flexible enough to accomplish whatever movement it is. And so my job is to find an exercise that increases that flexibility, increases that muscle activation, that takes the pain away by relieving the pressure on the tendon or something like that. Whenever we get into athletes, though, it's a little bit more complicated because we're not just looking at how flexible they are. In fact, most of the time they're pretty flexible or very strong or all of those types of things. And what we're looking at instead is biomechanics. So what that means is it's not necessarily that they don't have the ability to move properly, but they're not for whatever reason. It's all a movement pattern problem, not a muscular problem. So high school athletes especially is kind of what I'm aiming for. I told you guys that earlier, but I'm actually going to zoom in on, it was a baseball player, and he's 9 years old. That's going to be like the focus of our conversation here today. So he came to me and he was having pain in his elbow while he was throwing, while he was pitching. And if you guys are into baseball at all, you already know a little bit of where this is going.
You got Tommy John.
So, but he's 9 years old. He probably doesn't have Tommy John yet. So,
Tommy John and develop.
Right, and that was my concern. So I'm working on him. He's got elbow pain, and so we do some cool stuff to try and relieve that pain. That's going to be needling. No, this is not the 9-year-old. That's also not an elbow, but
Not an elbow.
needling, scraping, and there we go. Oh, okay. And some cool shoulder exercises to try and relieve some of the pressure and the load that's going through the elbow while he's throwing. But I would be really not doing my job if I didn't watch him throw, since that's the thing that is causing him pain, right? So here is him throwing. And I want you guys to know, as soon as I saw this, I thought, doesn't matter how many needles I put in him, it's not going to fix the problem. Because what he has is a movement problem. Yeah. Yeah. There's quite a few. Now, what the next step should probably be, in case anybody missed what was going on here, he's got just a really weird, his elbows hiked up really high, and then as he comes through, he's kind of pulling his head out. I don't know if anybody saw that. His head coming out to the side is actually to try and relieve pressure on the elbow. Doesn't work very well. Also, you miss where you're going to throw the ball, all sorts of things. But, so the next thing that I did was, I know this looks ugly. Well, what does right look like? So this is the one that I'm concerned about not playing. Okay, cool. So we're looking at super slow motion of Drew Storen, who's a pitcher for Washington. And this is, professional level mechanics and in super slow-mo, which is a little bit slower than what I was doing. And we're going to take a look here and see if this is something that we should be emulating. And we have, it's super slow, so we could probably get somebody to throw this way because we've got it super slow and can. It's a little gross. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so is Drew Storen somebody who we should base our mechanics off of?
I'm not there. Sure.
No.
Oh. Tommy John.
Drew Storen's had Tommy John surgery. So the reason for Tommy John surgery here, so does everybody know what Tommy John surgery is? In case you guys don't know. So there's a ligament in your elbow called your ulnar collateral ligament, your UCL, that ruptures. And what they do is replace that with a tendon. And the first person to have that done was Tommy John, who was a pitcher. And we'll talk about him later as well. The recovery.
Why does the ligament tear, Marshall?
Too much pressure in the elbow, too much valgus force. Tommy John. So that's the problem, and so we shouldn't be basing our mechanics off of somebody who's had Tommy John surgery. Okay, so the recovery time for Tommy John surgery is about a year and a half, kind of depending. So how about somebody else? Who else can we look at? Shohei Ohtani.
He had his done. See,
He's had 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, so even though Shohei Ohtani is a fantastic pitcher and is probably the most valuable player in baseball right now because of his hitting ability, yeah, Tommy John. So we're not going to base it off of him.
Let's bring up the Atlanta Braves. Come on now.
I don't have time to go through everybody. We'll talk about that though. Derek Screwball. Tommy John. Adam Wainwright. Tommy John. No.
Tommy John.
No. But here's where the problem is why do all of these pitchers have Tommy John? There's something going wrong in their mechanics that is the reason that they're having this surgery. And interestingly, this is a new phenomenon. This is every Tommy John surgery that has happened listed all the way back to 1974. There's a tiny blip on the right side of this graph. That is Tommy John himself. Why is it that all of these pitchers are having this problem? And I'm going to show you this. Do you? I'll give you a second to, I'll give you a chance in a second. But here's the other way to look at this graph. Almost 3/4 of the Tommy John surgeries have happened since this is 2011 through 2025. So we have this new problem of Tommy John surgery. So what's going on? All right, Josh, I'll give you the opportunity.
So the reason it's going on is because they don't pitch like they used to. They're just throwing harder and harder and harder, and they're not actually working on mechanics. They're literally just throwing.
That's a good answer. Anybody else?
I will couple that with, because I coach select baseball, because kids play baseball all year round at younger ages, at higher levels, and oftentimes it's just dads coaching. It's not a person that's studied biomechanics, so they're not teaching the right things. Kids doing the wrong thing repeatedly for years and years and years. And I think you're seeing Tommy John surgery in like high schools now.
They're even having Tommy John surgery preventatively, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But, so you are correct, or you guys are correct that it's something new where we're looking at pitchers trying to throw harder, and the mechanic that we'll get into later does actually make you throw harder. But let's take a look at Randy Johnson's mechanics.
Yeah.
Dude is 6'9", which is huge. Now the coolest part about Randy Johnson is actually that he pitched for 22 years without getting injured.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
And he threw the ball 100 miles an hour.
Yeah. So the thing that I want to focus in on, where is his arm whenever his front foot hits the mound again?
No.
Up here. Now,
He's not having to pull up and down at the same time.
that's the important part. He's not having to pull up and down at the same time. So this is the problem. This was a,
There's a lot of that.
yeah,
He was,
not this specific, well, yes. But, so this, I know this isn't Mark Pryor, but Mark Pryor invented this, or coined this technique called the inverted W. My dad pointed out, that's just an M. Yes, I didn't make the naming terminology, but anyway, whenever they're lifting up their arms like this, that what's happening is just what Sam said, you're going up and down at the same time. That's kind of putting all of this pressure into the arm that's allowing it to flip forward as fast as it's going. That gives you an extra 2 or 3 miles an hour. But it's also putting that extra torque into the elbow, and even as I'm doing that, I can feel that like snap through my elbow. And Sam, I'm going to pick on you for a second.
I had an inverted until college.
I want to ask you, why is this position not good for the shoulder, and why should we not be throwing out of it? I'm pulling on your
Because
jujitsu.
That specific
Seems like
spot,
most
the
of the
ligament's like open right here, so you're getting, I guess it would be the ligament, yeah.
Yep.
Because I had tennis elbow in combination with shoulder bicep tendonitis for
Yeah.
like 6 months.
So this is, I figured that you'd recognize a position like this. This is a Kimura. This is the same position that you would put somebody in for an MMA submission, and now we're going to try and throw out of that position. This sounds like a bad idea. So what we need to do is have that arm up here. So if we go back and look at our kid again, where is his arm? You can find that inverted W pretty easily, especially because he exaggerates it pretty heavily. The reason that his head comes out of the way, there's the inverted W. His head comes out of the way to try and relieve some of that pressure so that he can come out this way and relieve some of the pressure on the elbow. So what he needs is more sport-specific rehab. He needs something that is going to be designed to change his pitching mechanics. So what we did was put and I wish I had a video of this one, but I don't, put a table out in front of him so that if he tries to do that inverted W, as he comes through, he'd hit the table here. So instead, he's going to come back this way and throw across. Also, to try and fix the head coming out, so you guys saw it, his head is turning out super far. So what I did was I put some colored LEDs, like basically behind the plate, and he's got to tell me which colored LED is lighting up during his pitch. So this is kind of what I'm looking for, is the high school athletes who have not quite healed the way that they were supposed to, or don't feel like they're getting that specific sport rehab that they need in order to perform at their highest level. So what I'm looking for is actually the parents of these high school athletes, and what I'd like to talk to them about is just what a program like this would look like. It's not a sales call. I'm not trying to sell to them specifically right now. I'm trying to design a program that is going to help break down the barriers of, like, what are the problems that you guys are seeing with quote unquote normal PT, and how can I help with that? So if you guys know anybody who falls in that category, especially if they've had a recent injury, I would love to be put in contact with them.
Nice.
Thank you.
Good job, Dr. Moore.